The first time she called me honey, I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Who in their right mind accidentally calls a stranger honey at 2 a.m.? But she did, and that single word unraveled everything I thought I knew about my life. I should have hung up. I should have rolled my eyes and blocked the number. Instead, I stayed. Maybe it was the loneliness of my New York apartment walls closing in. Or maybe it was the tremor in her voice, like she wasn't just dialing a number, she was reaching for a lifeline. Her name was Emily. I didn't know then that Emily would become both the sweetest blessing and the sharpest ache of my 26 years. The night of the call, she confessed between half-laughs and awkward apologies that she'd been trying to call her boyfriend, but her shaking hands must have slipped a digit. And just like that, I became the stranger who picked up. "Guess the universe wanted me to talk to you," she said, her voice a mix of sarcasm and something else, something fragile. I didn't realize it then, but that call wasn't a mistake. It was the start of everything. We talked until the sky outside my window turned gray, trading stories about broken dreams and half-healed scars. She was a painter who hadn't touched a brush in months. I was a waitress still nursing the failure of my journalism career. By sunrise, I felt like I knew her heartbeat better than my own. Days turned into weeks. Every honey she dropped in our late-night talks was half a joke, half a test. And every time I answered. At first with teasing. Then with silence. Then, eventually, with something dangerously close to love. But here's the thing about love: it doesn't arrive neatly wrapped in permission. It barges in, messy and inconvenient. Especially when one of you is still tethered to a boyfriend who doesn't see the cracks forming in his own relationship. I didn't want to be the other woman. God, I swore I'd never be that person. Yet, with Emily, it never felt like betrayal. It felt like truth. The first time we met in person, it was raining so hard the city looked like it was dissolving. I spotted her outside a coffee shop in Soho, soaked hair clinging to her face, phone pressed to her ear. She was searching for me, and when our eyes locked, I swear the world stilled. She looked at me as if she'd known me forever. And maybe in some strange way she had. Over cappuccino's gone cold, she told me her boyfriend thought she was distant, distracted. He wasn't wrong. She admitted she didn't know how to explain to him that the laughter in her nights didn't belong to him anymore. It belonged to me. I should have pulled back then. Told her to figure out her life before dragging me into it. But when she reached across the table and brushed her fingertips against mine, the storm outside might as well have been inside me too. Her touch was shy, fleeting, yet it branded me. That night I lay awake replaying every detail: the tiny dimple in her left cheek when she smiled, the way her eyes lit up when she forgot the world was watching. I knew I was in too deep. I also knew I didn't want to climb out. Of course, the universe has a cruel sense of humor. A week later, her boyfriend showed up at her apartment while we were there. We weren't doing anything, just sitting cross-legged on her bed, sharing paint-stained fingers and unfinished canvases. But guilt painted her face brighter than any color on her palette. I hid in the bathroom while she argued with him, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would give me away. He accused her of drifting. She denied it. He asked if there was someone else. She hesitated. That silence was louder than any confession. When he slammed the door and left, Emily collapsed onto the floor, tears streaking her cheeks. I wanted to comfort her, but a voice in my chest screamed, "This isn't my place. I'm not supposed to be here." And yet, when she reached for me, I let her. Because the truth is, I was already hers. Emily and I didn't speak for 3 days after that night. 3 days where I stared at my phone, willing it to ring. 3 days where every vibration made my heart sprint, only to collapse when it wasn't her. On the 4th day, she showed up at my apartment. No warning, no text, just her in the doorway, hair unkempt, eyes swollen from crying. "I ended it," she whispered. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt the crushing weight of what that meant. She'd chosen me. Out of all the chaos, she'd chosen me. But choosing me didn't erase the scars. That first week together was both heaven and hell. She would reach for me in the dark, clinging like I was the only anchor keeping her afloat. Then in daylight, guilt would shadow her smile, as if happiness was something she hadn't earned. One night, while lying on my couch with her head in my lap, she asked, "Do you ever wonder if we're just a mistake that went too far?" Her question cut deeper than any knife. I wanted to scream that love was never a mistake, that what we had wasn't an accident, it was inevitability. But instead, I brushed her hair back and kissed her temple. We're not a mistake, I whispered. We're the part of your life that finally makes sense. Took months before she believed me. New York in autumn is cruelly beautiful. Leaves fall like promises you can't keep, and the air tastes like change. We spent those months walking through Central Park, fingers intertwined, pretending the world wasn't watching. Some days she painted again me mostly. My smile, my silhouette against city lights, my reflection in coffee cups. I never told her, but each canvas felt like proof she was learning how to live again. Yet the world is never kind to women like us. Her mother found out first. I'll never forget the voicemail she left on Emily's phone. Voice sharp with disbelief and shame. This isn't you. You're confused. Come home and fix this before it ruins your life. Emily didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just handed me the phone and asked me to delete it. I did, but the words lingered like ghosts between us. Weeks later, one of her old friends spotted us holding hands outside a bookstore. By nightfall, whispers had turned into wildfire. She was bombarded with texts, half pity and half disgust. When did you become this person? I can't believe you're throwing everything away. I watched her shrink under the weight of it all, and for the first time, I wondered if loving me was too heavy a burden. One evening she stood at my window, staring at the city lights, silent for so long I thought she'd stopped breathing. Then she said, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't know who I am anymore." It broke me. Not because she doubted herself, but because I knew she doubted us. I walked over, wrapped my arms around her waist and whispered, "Then let me remind you. You're the girl who calls strangers honey at 2 a.m. You're the girl who paints love into every stroke of her brush. You're the girl who made me believe in something again. That's who you are. And that's who I love." For a long time she said nothing. Then she turned, kissed me so fiercely it felt like defiance, and I knew we'd survive this. And we did. Slowly, painfully, but beautifully. By winter, she stopped apologizing for her happiness. By spring, she started introducing me as her partner. By summer, her laughter no longer carried the weight of secrets. The world didn't magically soften. There were still side eyes in diners, still relatives who refused to acknowledge me, still nights where Emily's shoulders stiffened under the pressure of it all. But there was also love, raw, imperfect, stubborn love that stitched us back together every time we came undone. 1 year later, on a quiet evening, she led me to her studio. "Close your eyes," she said. When I opened them, there it was. A canvas taller than me, painted in bold, defiant colors. 2 women sitting close together on a park bench at sunset, one holding a phone, the other reaching for her hand. The intimacy, the warmth, the vulnerability, it was us. The moment everything changed. Tears blurred my vision. "Emily." She smiled, wiping paint from her cheek. "You were never a mistake. You were the answer." I kissed her, tasting salt and certainty. And in that kiss I realized something: love doesn't need the world's permission. It only needs 2 hearts brave enough to claim it. Now when she calls me honey, it isn't by accident. It's a choice. Promise. A reminder that what began as a misdial turned into a love neither of us will ever stop answering. Because sometimes the wrong number is the right beginning. And she'll always be the call I choose to pick up. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.